Well, good morning again, everybody, and happy Easter. We're going to start again with our gospel focus this morning. And if you have been reading along with us, you know that we have been reading chapter 5 through 11 in the book of John. And as you know, if you were all here, I would be asking if there was anybody that had any input on these chapters, or if God showed you anything and revealed anything to you. And I've really been appreciating everybody's input on this. But obviously we can't do that. So what I would invite you to do is to email us and let us know what God is revealing to your heart. Take an opportunity to share with somebody else the insights that you're getting, or what God is showing you about His love, about who He is, about who you are, as you read each chapter every day. So don't hesitate to email us and let us know what's going on in your life. But what I want to do is I want to look back at these chapters. And again, I want to remind you that the purpose of John's gospel was to show that Jesus was all God and all man. And it was very important also to John to lay down that basis, and then upon that basis, exhort the people that through Jesus Christ, you can have eternal life. And as we celebrate this Easter morning, we remember that. We remember eternal life. We remember Jesus. We remember His death, His burial, and His resurrection on this Easter day. So that was very important to John. And what I want to do is I want to look back at chapters 5 through 11, and I want to specifically look at what Jesus said about Him being I am. Now, the Jewish people would have known through Moses that Jesus was referring to Himself as God. Every time He said, I am something, He was proclaiming again, I am God, and I am here living among you. And many, many people received that and understood, this is the Messiah. This is God. He has come to live with us. So I'm going to listen, and I'm going to give my life to that. But then there were other people who were angry, and they were wrathful, and they totally rejected that. But first of all, in John chapter 6, if you remember, Jesus had just fed the 5,000. And so the people's physical bodies were fed. He fed them bread. He cared about them. He cared about the fact that they were there all day long and they were hungry. And so Jesus fed their physical bodies. But then He said, I am the bread of life. So He was not only saying, I will feed you physically, but I will feed you spiritually. I realize that from the beginning of time, God created you as a spiritual being. God created you with the hunger for His love, the hunger for His joy, the hunger for His peace. And Jesus is saying, that's what I have for you. I am that bread of life. I will fill you spiritually. All of us have that void. All of us have a spiritual void that's crying out for a relationship with God. And Jesus is saying, I am the one that will fill you spiritually. So, another thing is, in the times that we're living in right now with all the social distancing, we hunger for relationships. Right now we can't be with one another. And Jesus is saying, I understand that. I care about that. And what He is saying is, look to me, call to me, talk to me about that, and I will fill that void for you until you can come back together. Press into me. Look to me to fill that void that you may have right now. Also then in John chapter 8, he said to them, remember when he came to the blind man and he healed the blind man with the mud on his eyes? That blind man was in darkness. And so Jesus said to him, I am the light of the world. There's a lot of darkness going on right now. And Jesus is saying, I am light for you. Press into me, call on me, and I will be the light in the darkness. I am so thankful that with all the craziness that's going on right now, and all the darkness that seems to want to just engulf our emotions and engulf our lives, that I can call on Jesus, and that I can talk to him, and that I can be with him, and he brings that light into the darkness that tries to come. And then in chapter 10, Jesus was talking a lot about sheep. And he gave the illustration of sheep needing a shepherd. And he referred to the sheepfold. And a sheepfold was like an enclosure that had walls, had an opening for a door, and it was open on the top. And all the sheep would go into the sheepfold. And it said that the shepherds many times would lay down in front of the opening as the door. And the sheepfold can be the family of God. And Jesus is saying to them, be my sheep. I will be your shepherd. I will lay my life down for you. I won't let you get lost. And if you do stray away, I will come and find you. I am your shepherd. I am the door to that sheepfold. The only way you can get in there, the only way you can get into the family of God is through me. He said it point blank, I am the door. If anyone enters through me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture, which leads me to the next one. Jesus said it also in chapter 10, he also said, I am the good shepherd. Remember in Psalm 23 where he said, you are my shepherd, I shall not want. If Jesus is our shepherd, he will guide us. He will show us, okay, go this way. Nope, don't go that way, go this way. He will guide you and lead you into the areas that you need to be in your life. He said, I am the good shepherd. And the good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. And that leads me to the last one. In John chapter 11, he said, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live even after dying. And as we remember his resurrection on this Easter morning, we remember that he's the one who died on our behalf, but he conquered that death. And then he rose again. And he said, I am that resurrection and that life, but I give that to you. And he said to Martha, who he was talking to at the time, he said, do you believe this? And Martha said, yes, Lord, I believe that. And he says that he's saying that to us this morning as well. He's saying, do you believe that? Do you trust in that? Do you rely on that? Do you cling to that? If you do, he said, he who believes in me will have everlasting life. And everlasting life does mean eternal life, but it also means a life worth living. And Jesus was saying all these things to say, this was God's plan from the beginning. He has sent me so that you can have the life that I want you to have. So on this Easter morning, do you believe? If you believe, just speak it out and say, yes, Jesus, I'm the one you came to die for. And I receive your life through Jesus. I hope you do that this morning. Happy Easter.